What is impairment? What is handicap? What is labeling? Do you know that you cannot refer to individuals with disabilities just anyhow, like the blind man, the deaf girl, the dumb boy, or like you say, the cripple? Do you know that it is very insulting to refer them in that manner? Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm here to share with you some terminologies in special education, the right way to use them, and also the right way to refer to individuals with disabilities so that you don't end up offending or insulting someone. Therefore, if you are watching me and you have not yet subscribed, consider subscribing, like and share this video. Okay, so the first terminology we are going to look at is impairment. Impairment. When we talk of impairment, what does it mean in special education? When we talk of impairment, it is a condition in which a part of a person's body is not functioning properly. And so maybe the leg or the eye or the hand or the arm is not working properly. So we have an example like visual impairment. And so when we talk of visual impairment, it's not just about blindness. Impairment, when you listen to the definition, it says that once one part of the body is not working properly, so it means the eye could be working, but it is not working properly. And so when we talk of impairment, it doesn't mean complete loss of functioning, but partial loss of functioning is also there. And visual impairment, hearing impairment is not just about total blindness or total deafness. The next terminology to look at is disability. Disability is a physical or mental condition that limits a person's movement, senses, and activities. And so a mental or physical condition that limits your movement, or that limits your senses, maybe your sense of reasoning, your sense of taste, or your sense of smell. Any condition that limits that makes you fall under what? Disability. Other terminology in special education is disorder. And disorder means that general disturbances in physical, mental, and psychological functioning. In this case, we are saying that the person is either mentally, physically, or intellectually not stable. And so when you look at the definition for impairment, for disorder, and then for disabilities, you realize that the ideas are the same, the meanings are similar. Depends on the context in which you are using these three terminologies. So we usually say visual impairment instead of saying visual disability. Do you get it? Or you can also say vision disorder. Do you get it? Or hearing impairment instead of saying hearing disability. Do you get it? Yes. And so based on the context in which you are using, will tell the one you should use. The next word is exceptionality. Exceptionality in special education means an individual whose physical, intellectual, and behavioral performance deviate from the norm, or what is known as the normal, either positively or negatively. And so generally or normally it is known that a child of 5 years should be able to calculate 5 plus 5, 2 plus 2, and then get the answer. But in this case, you have a child who is 5 years and can multiply big numbers and then give you answer immediately. Such a child is exceptional. That is positively. And then negatively, a child who is probably at the age of 15 is expected that, oh, this child should be able to write his name because he's in school. But this child is finding it difficult to even recite alphabet. It's also an exceptional child. The next terminology that most of us use is handicap. We tend to use the word handicap for individuals with disability. Generally, that is what we use them for, but that is not right. Now, let's look at how the word handicap came about. In those days or some time past, individuals with disabilities usually will have a cup in their hand, moving from one place to the other, begging for alms, or be on the streets and seeking for help. And even now, we can see some individuals who are disabled who also have some cups or certain things in their hands at the roadside, begging, or sometimes in traffic, begging for money. So from there, the word handicap came. And so let's imagine now you have an individual who is visually impaired or hearing impaired, but this person is not going out there begging for alms, and then you are referring to the person handicapped. It doesn't really feel good. Do you get it? You know how the word handicap came about. Now, what is handicap in education or in special education? Handicap in special education means a limitation imposed on the individual either by the environment or the person's disability. And so because the person is disabled, he or she cannot perform certain tasks, or the environment is not conducive for that person to perform certain tasks, and so that person has become handicapped at that moment. Our next terminology is segregation. Segregation. When we talk of segregation, it means separating individuals with disability from the society or from the lot, and then keeping them at a secluded place in the name of what? Educating them. And so you go to a general school, a child with visual impairment or hearing impairment will be taken from the regular classroom and be kept somewhere, just what? And teach the child separately. And so that child is not learning with his peers, which in a way it's not right. Also, segregation doesn't just happen in the classroom, but also in some families, parents can decide that no, because of this child, they will separate the child from the siblings or from the public, so that when people come to the house, they will not see that there's a child with visual impairment in this house. And so they separate the child and then keep the child at a corner. That is segregation, which is negative. It is not right. Our last terminology for today is labeling. Labeling. And labeling can either be negative or what? Positive. And so when we talk of labeling, we are talking of creating descriptors to identify individuals who are different from the norm. In the classroom, a child with learning disability, you have labeled a child that, as for this child, he doesn't know anything. So he's not good for anything. And so that is how you have labeled the child and identified the child to be, to the extent that even when you are talking about the child too, there's the only thing you can use to describe the child is the condition the child is what? Is facing, which is negative. Now, in special education, labeling also refers to the process of identifying a child who is fit or who is eligible for special educational needs. So in this way, it is not negative, it is positive, whereby in the general class, a teacher seeks to find out a child with special needs so that that child can be given what? Special education services. So you realize that labeling can be used positively, and it can also be what? Used negatively. Let's look at how we refer to individuals with disabilities and why it is wrong to refer to them in that manner. First used to say the dumb girl. Another way we are trying to say that that girl cannot speak or that child cannot speak. One, dampness doesn't mean one cannot speak. Use the word dumb. Someone is dumb. It doesn't just mean the person cannot talk. We are also trying to mean that the person cannot reason, or the person, the person is stupid. And so you use that word, you are insulting the person. And so if the person is deaf or the person has speech problem and you want to refer to the person, do not identify the person by his or her condition. Like you said, the blind man, it is wrong to identify an individual with their condition because they are not the condition. They are being affected by the condition. It doesn't make them the condition. Do you get it? And so to say they're crippled, no, you don't label them like that. Rather, it is best to use the person's name, because if the condition is not there or if that disability is not there, how will you refer to that person? And so use the person's name. But in cases whereby maybe you are describing the person to someone and then the person is not getting it, or you don't know the person's name, then instead of saying the disabled man, rather say the man with disability, or the man with blindness, or the man who is visually impaired, or the girl who is deaf, or the girl with speech problem. Do you get it? In this way, you are identifying them before the condition. You are not making them to be the condition they are going through. And so it is so wrong to refer to individuals. In fact, it's not just wrong, but insulting to refer to an individual with their what? Condition. We even go to the extent that teachers who teach individuals with disabilities, we even refer them the disabled teacher or the blind teacher or the deaf teacher. No, no, no. That is so wrong. It is understandable in the sense that sometimes you say the math teacher, the science teacher, but let us not forget you are referring them by what they teach. The math teacher, he teaches math. But if you say the blind teacher, what the person teaches is not blindness. What the person teaches is something different, but rather maybe the person teaches science or the person teaches phonetics or English to an individual with blindness. And so why not also call him special educator or the English teacher? Rather you say that the blind teacher, as if what the person is teaching is blindness. And so let us know how to use some of these terminologies well, and also how to refer to individuals with impairment or individuals with special needs the right way, so that we don't end up disrespecting or insulting someone. Thanks so much for watching. If you're watching me and you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing, like and share this video. Have a blessed day. Bye bye.